I'm at over 120 videos. Never in a million years. This video I thought would be really interesting for you all to consider where you might be withholding from yourself. So oftentimes we think, oh, I want this boyfriend, or I want this relationship, or I want this promotion, or I want to make more money, or I want to have this result. But oftentimes, when we are looking at results or outcomes, we don't look at where we're maybe holding back on ourselves. So I thought there would be two questions that you could ask yourself that would be super helpful for you aligning more within. And I have been known for my questions. And the reason why questions are so incredibly powerful is that they open up new possibilities. So I think it's really helpful to have supportive questions that open new potentials. So I thought of two questions that would help you in looking at your own self and where you might be holding back or withholding from yourself. And the first question I thought would be really helpful is, if you look at your life and the stresses that you have, maybe it's stress going into work, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new position, maybe it's a new relationship, maybe it's setting boundaries with current relationships. And these things cause you stress. So when you look at stress, that's going to always cause constriction. So what you want to look at is the mitigation or the process that you put in place to address the stress, is it working? Does it need to be modified in some way that allows you to have less stress? That's what you want to look at. You want to look at modification or slight adjustments. So the question you might ask yourself is, where am I attempting to manage my stress that needs to be adjusted in some way? That simple question. Where am I managing my stress that still needs to be addressed and adjusted? So that doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't working. It means that what you're doing might need to be adjusted so it works better. So it might be that whatever implementation process you put in place is good, but we're always looking for more and greater alignment. In order to get greater alignment, better results, we must be willing to adjust. What I find too often is people say, well, I'm already doing that, or I'm already doing this, and I'm doing that. And they really go into this state of fighting for limitations. And just because you want to improve something doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. It just means like there might be a slight adjustment. An attitude adjustment could even be one of them. It could be something so simple that makes the process even better. So one thing we know for sure is that when we're complaining about situations or stress, that makes it worse, right? That doesn't improve it at all. So venting about your stress, not a good tactic. Okay, so the second question is, how am I constricting myself? Or a better question is, where am I constricting myself? So one way that you would notice where you're in constriction is, where am I holding my breath? Like, so when I used to drive, I used to notice I would hold my breath. This is going back many years ago. I don't have these problems now. Life is good. But when you hold your breath, that's a good indication that you're in constriction. Notice what you're thinking about. When I have certain thoughts, am I constricting myself? Oh, okay, so I'll want to notice these thoughts and make sure I'm not going down that rabbit hole. So you just want to ask yourself those two high quality questions and notice what's happening within your body. That will be the indication of constriction. Usually you don't see constriction on yourself unless you're looking for it, or you work with somebody like me who, that's what I do. Right? Because you can't expand if you don't know where you're constricted. And sometimes you're just constricted in simple areas and it's an easy fix. More often than not, everything can be shifted with a different approach, a different perspective, more conscious breath. Everything is able to expand when we are willing to look at where we're constricted. So it's the same thing where there's darkness. You notice the darkness because there's the distinction of light. We bring more light to the darkness. This is what we're doing. We're simply bringing our attention to areas where we can expand greater. So I hope you found this helpful. And I hope that you learned that withholding from yourself is your own strategy to keep yourself small. That is not very effective when you want to grow into being in sync. So I am Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. Have a great day.